come back into the Blue Door Pub Thunderdome for another Bull with Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87th Best Daily Podcast. Show about everything and nothing at the same time. Tell friends, spread the word, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, BullShow.co. Sitting in the actual Blue Door University on Como, nailed it, tonight with Frank, Minnesota Skinny. Frank, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing excellent. Parking, little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
A little bit of trouble, but I got in here. Survived one piece. I don't think I hit any cars.
Well, that's how popular it is here on Monday nights. It is lit right here at the Blue Door.
I got the last open spot.
Did you?
I got the very last one. I thought the Blue Door was across the street. I thought where Bobby's Corner Market is was the Blue Door. I just didn't see it, and I pulled back behind that place to park. Mm-hmm. And that parking lot, I swear, kills somebody in the next Saw movie.
Probably. Could you imagine when there's actually a lot of snow? And I know that we're not going to have a lot of snow because of global warming, and no one ever talks about the positives of global warming. It's 45 degrees in February in Minnesota.
It's the honeymoon phase.
But I digress. Yeah. Imagine if there's a crap ton of snow out there, just trying to get around and navigate, like those back alleys.
I actually kind of wish there was a bunch of snow back there because I wouldn't have messed with it.
Yeah.
I'd have just seen it and been like, you know what, I'm just going to park on the street. Maybe this is a lane, maybe it's not.
Is this your first time at this location?
It is. I've been to the Selby location many times.
Spacious.
Yes. Yeah, I walked in and sat right down. That doesn't happen at the Selby location very often.
Well, mainly because I have my table. I'm like, what was it? What movie was it? Goodfellas, when he just walks in and then they carry in a brand new table and just sit it right in front of Frank Sinatra or whoever that was supposed to be.
This is a pretty clean table.
Yeah.
Are you sure they didn't do that for you?
Probably not. It's okay. I'm not a big deal. I'm a medium deal, but I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Hey.
And bringing in Frank, visit the MinnesotaSkinny.com. Check him out on Facebook and Twitter as well. He is the beer guy. He is the beer bar Brouhaha guy. Is that fair?
My nickname is actually Haataja.
Mixing
the name Brouhaha and my last name.
Yeah, because I forgot to butcher your last name. Now, is it Haataja?
It's Haataja.
Haataja, okay. And now, is that Dutch?
Finnish.
Finnish?
Finnish.
Okay. Because there's many ways that could have gone to that. It's like, is it Dutch? It could be Scandinavian. The double A is very common. Hell, it could be Saudi Arabian. We don't really know.
Different
also,
pronunciations.
Rocket Beard. That just threw a wrench into the whole equation as well.
This isn't a beard so much as I'm just too lazy to shave.
Also, you got very nice hair, and if you wore like a pendant necklace and then walk around saying "my friend," then I would have no idea.
My cross necklace?
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
My friend, I have a deal for you. Get in my Uber. But no, I do have respect in a completely plutonic way for men that have very nice set of lettuce up top, mainly because I'm the close crop guy. You know, I'm not balding, maybe a little widow's peak action, but I am very jealous of guys who. Oof.
So why don't you just grow it out? Just try it. You never know.
I've done it before, and it's straight up Brillo pad. Like it's like straight up copper wire. You know. What was that thing?
You just got to get there's a formula for that. It's 2017. They got something.
What was that thing? Was it Wooly Willy or the thing where you put Play-Doh through and you squeeze it through and then like shot through like small holes in the guy's head?
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
I know we're like in the era specific area, but I can't remember the name. If you know the name. Tweet me that. That's how my hair. That's how my hair looks.
I don't know if that's true.
Maybe I'll grow it out just to spite you now. So Frank, you what's been going on? What's been going on with the Minnesota Skinny?
Oh my gosh, so much. It's been a while since the last time you were on my show.
Yeah,
and it was right before the Vikings and Dolphins played, and we had that bet.
Oh, that was so stupid because, the Vikings
it was tied, and Fede blocked that punt to put the Dolphins up by 2 points.
Yeah.
Jeff Locke couldn't get it around Fede, and Fede swatted it out of the end zone.
Stupid walk-off safety punt block.
Walk-off safety punt block.
Yeah, Mike Wallace also scored 2 touchdowns that game, and that's why the Vikings traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this guy must be good. He scored 2 touchdowns against Josh Robinson.
And that was such a great game, too. It was such an emotional roller coaster, that game, because it looked like the Vikings were good. Well, Ryan Tannehill threw that one ball right into Harrison Smith's chest, and Harrison Smith was jumping on him, and Tannehill threw the ball into his chest. I thought they were done. That was the second most Ryan Tannehill throw I've ever seen from Ryan Tannehill. The first being, of course, that one against the Cardinals this year.
Yeah.
Where it was basically a fumble.
What's your stance on Tannehill? I know you improved a little bit under Adam Gase this year, and the Dolphins went to the playoffs, but is he the guy long term?
No. Unless Adam Gase really is the quarterback whisperer, but I need to see it with what he had, Jay Cutler and Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning can coach himself. Did Jay Cutler even really listen to Adam Gase? Who knows?
Probably not. He's too busy smoking.
Probably.
Too busy getting emphysema because of all the memes.
But if Tannehill comes back next year and does really well, does better than this year, maybe I'll start to believe, but
it's got to be pretty positive, though, Gase taking the team to the playoffs in the first year.
The Dolphins gave him 3 years. They said, if you don't make the playoffs in 3 years, bye.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Gase up and did it right away. I believe in Adam Gase. And it's been a long time since I said that about a Dolphins fan. I felt that way about Nick Saban, but in the back of my mind, I knew he was gone the second, the wrong college or the wrong team called him up.
Really?
I knew he was out.
Because it's funny, you reach being a head coach in the NFL is supposed to be the pinnacle of the profession, but it was a pretty open secret that if an Alabama or another big-time SEC gig opened, he was gone.
And so, well, you're a sports guy. We can rank this up. I think there are some college teams that coaching them is more prolific than a lot of NFL teams.
Yeah, I mean, they always talk about, there's only 32 jobs in the NFL, except a couple NFL jobs are complete shit.
They are.
Yeah. I'm thinking San Francisco is definitely one of them, mainly because you have a terrible stadium. Levi's Stadium is kind of garbage. And also the ownership. You never know what you're going to get with Jed York. The Raiders used to be like that, except now it seems like they've sort of steadied the ship.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other NFL jobs that are not really that great. But, yeah, as far as colleges go, pretty much any gig in the SEC where you're going to be backed by a lot of money and you're going to get paid handsomely.
I mean, and I would even put Michigan and Ohio State there. Stanford, maybe? Oregon?
I'll put USC if you get the right AD.
And I'd have to see what kind of Phil Knight money Oregon was still getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think there are some college gigs that are better than most football gigs.
Oh yeah, if you, I'll even put out there if the school is bolstered up. We didn't order any fries, but our awesome waitress Lena just brought some fries. Whatever, shoot. If you're a college that's backed up by a big-time booster or big-time apparel company, so you got Oregon with Nike, you got Maryland to a degree with Under Armour, and then you got all the schools that have the Jordan money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes things a lot easier because a lot of the coaches, especially basketball coaches, but we're talking about football, get paid additionally from the apparel company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. You can have a good living. Plus, if you win, you're a deity in that small, usually small town.
Yep. And, man, to be Nick Saban for a day.
Yeah.
I doubt he enjoys it.
Oh, no, he's never happy. Even if he wins, he's like, shit, I got to call it 12 recruits tonight.
He probably would be treated like royalty, but he probably doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah, the difference between being a winning head coach in Tuscaloosa, because there's been a couple of not-so-winning coaches there before Saban.
Oh, Alabama was bad for a long time, weren't they?
Was it Bill Curry was decent, then it was Mike DeBose and Mike Shula. Wait, no, Mike DeBose or Bill Curry, whatever. If you win in a big-time historical college town, you're going to be golden. Or you could be the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, where no one gives two shits about your team.
Yeah. L.A., those teams are in for it, man.
They're both going to move within 20 years.
You're giving them 20.
Yeah.
Well, that is a really impressive stadium that's going up. So, 20 sounds about right.
It's going to be a major stadium, except in 20 years they'll both be gone, and they'll just use the stadium for Super Bowls.
Because LA doesn't – we saw it this year. LA doesn't give a shit about the Rams.
Yeah.
And they're not going to care about the Chargers. And they're just not that marketable of teams. Like, they should have just completely rebranded themselves with that move. Because, I mean, they have the Rams have never been marketable. They weren't marketable in St. Louis. They weren't marketable the first time they were in L.A. And so you just same old Rams back in L.A. And now you have the Chargers. It's like, well, here are the Chargers now playing here. Like, they should have just, like, the branding, the colors, everything. They should have just done something completely different.
The Rams should have gone back to the old school, like more yellowish as opposed to gold.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And if you're really going to – you have to bring something else to the table in L.A. because it's such a transplant town that – and people come from the cities. You don't generally give up your football fandom. Like, if you came from Chicago and you moved to L.A. for a job, you're not going to stop being a Bears fan. Yeah. And – what I think the owners of the LA teams need to realize that they have to become a spectacle. Like, it would behoove them to bring in an RG3 or a Johnny Manziel or something that's going to be maybe a little bit distracting off the field. But that's what you want.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Gronk.
Oh, yeah. Trade for Gronk, sign Manziel, because if you want to keep the interest of Los Angeles, you have to be on TMZ just as much as you're on ESPN.
One of those teams are getting Gronk.
Really?
One of those teams are getting Gronk.
Which would you? I would say the Rams would probably be the favorite.
I would say the Rams too, because the Rams are least likely to come back. Like, Gronk won't come back to haunt him as a Ram. He might as a Charger, but one of them is going to get Gronk. You saw how much Langle was playing for the Patriots. That 6'8" dude, and Martellus Bennett. Gronk is going to L.A.
I would put this in front of Belichick. So, Aaron Donald is a great defensive tackle, great three-tech, and I don't know. I feel like he's kind of wearing out his welcome with the Rams a little bit, and they don't really want to pay him the money that he's going to be needing. Aaron Donald for Gronk, straight up.
If I were the Rams, I wouldn't take that offer.
Really?
Well, who's their owner? Kroenke?
Kroenke, yeah.
Uncle Kroenke might.
Yeah.
Uncle Kroenke might do that. Bring Gronk to L.A., and if he wants to get rid of Aaron Donald that badly, I don't want that to happen, though, because, oh, my God, the Patriots defense.
Because we should point out that you're a Dolphins fan, so you know the pain of
I don't even feel it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even feel it anymore. Like, when I heard the Patriots won the Super Bowl, I'm just like, well, okay, Patriots won another Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, finishing up with those LA teams, though, I feel like if they're going to have long-term success, and now it's going to be a two-team race, you really have to target the demographics of the city, and it's going to be heavily Latino. So you got to really hammer on like the younger Latino population, because eventually they'll get older, they'll get jobs, they'll buy tickets, and then they'll be cemented as either Rams or Chargers fans. But it doesn't feel like there's being a concerted effort to do that.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't either. And like you said about transplants, I mean, a lot of them might just be next generation fans of different teams. It'll be interesting to see if any of those LA teams really catch on with LA the way the Lakers have, the way the Dodgers have, the way the Dodgers have.
Yeah. The Dodgers definitely established themselves out there.
The Stanley Cups definitely help. Yeah. I think the Kings have caught on.
Oh yeah.
And so we'll see if one of those football teams can.
Well, it's like what the Kings did initially. They knew they had to make a splash to make headway, so then they traded for Gretzky. I feel like that's something that the Rams or the Chargers have to do. Like, eventually the Patriots will trade Tom Brady, because that's just what's going to happen. If I'm the Chargers and Phillip Rivers retires, which I think he will before Tom Brady, it's like, all right, we'll give you 2 first-rounders for 42-year-old Tom Brady.
I don't think so. I think Brady just retires.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's got everything. There's nothing left in that guy's life he could possibly
a lot
want.
of people thought the storybook ending would be he retires after this Super Bowl, except I don't think that guy's quitting anytime soon. And also, the way he takes care of his body, he's really big into nutrition, as we munch on these fries, and don't get optimal sleep every night, but whatever. I feel like he's a guy especially the way he moves in the pocket. He is able to avoid big hits, except for the first half against Atlanta. I think he's a guy who could play till he's 45 or 46 if he wanted to.
Oh, God, don't say that.
Yeah.
If he's going to play that long, I hope he goes to another team. Jeez.
Here's what sucks, too.
But I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree, though. I think he could play that long. But I don't think after all he's accomplished and he's so used to winning, he has to be really, really wanting to rebuild a franchise. Like, that has to be his last project in his career in the NFL.
Yep.
To prove he can do it without Belichick. That, I think, is the only knock left against him.
Oh.
Is that he can't do it without Belichick.
That's what tears down the Patriots. It's Brady and Belichick. Because, both of them in the back of their head, they got to think, I got to prove that I can do it without the other guy.
Belichick already proved it. Belichick's got 11-5 with Castle.
Oh, I mean, that's one season they didn't even make the playoffs.
But 11-5, it didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
True, but I think Brady needs it more than Belichick does.
Although, could you imagine just full disclosure, I'm a big Belichick fan. I love the guy. I've read all the books about him.
Like I said, respect him. I hate him.
Just imagine like his smug, wry smile if he wins a Super Bowl ring with Jabroni Brisket or Jimmy Garoppolo. Just a smile, just sipping tea like Kermit. That's not my business.
I don't know if is Belichick like that.
Oh yeah, he's definitely smug, but he's also very funny. Like every coach or player that's worked with him always notes that
I'll go grab someone from Foxborough High School.
Yeah, like when you go to those stupid interviews. So what's Bill Belichick really like? Oh, he's really funny, and we've seen in some of those NFL films things where he's a pretty funny dude. Like behind the camera, he's got a sense of humor to himself. He just doesn't show it because he knows that that's how you play the game in the media. Don't give him anything.
Yeah. But yeah, Gronk goes to LA, and who else goes to LA? You think?
Hell. Just bring in Manziel. Like, if I'm the Rams, like, Jared Goff sucks. And let's just give Gianni a chance. Oh, let's just make it a sideshow. Like, we'll have Goff as our starter, but as our backup. Instead of, you telling me that Johnny Manziel, whether he's sober or not, who cares, isn't better than Case Keenum? Case Keenum's terrible.
That's a solid point.
Yeah. Plus, it'll get headlines. It'll get people to the stadium. It's like, oh, maybe this is the game that bench Goff. And put in Manziel. Either way, it'll be fun. Like, he could be a dumpster fire, but he'll still sell tickets.
Sign Manziel. Give Justin Bieber free season tickets. Sign Gronk. Give, Floyd Mayweather free season tickets.
That'd be sweet.
They would pack that stadium.
Yeah. Damn, it was a bad idea to play in the Coliseum. Like, maybe not go as extreme as what the Chargers are doing, playing in that soccer stadium with 30,000 seats. But
are they even selling out those 30,000 seats? I guess we'll see.
I don't know. I still think that's a better move than playing in a half-empty Coliseum, though.
That is true.
Like a 2/3 empty Coliseum, because that's where the Raiders played when they moved to LA the first time. It's like that was bad. Just watching those old NFL films, there's 5,000 people there, maybe.
I think we're going to see a shift more toward that as the next wave of stadiums go up. Is stadiums with lesser capacity and just a harder ticket to get. It's one thing to, like Jerry Jones, he can have a stadium with 100,000 people in it because he can fill it. But you get like Jacksonville, for instance. I bet their next stadium, if they stay in Jacksonville, I bet their next stadium has 40,000 seats. Or
like a U.S. Bank Stadium, 64,000 capacity, I think it is.
That's about the same or down from the Metrodome?
A little bit more.
Okay.
Of course, it's expandable for extra seats for the Super Bowl. It's really gangster how they do it, too, because all the seats, instead of being bolted into the cement, are into this long pipe that goes across the entire row. And what they do is they just unscrew the seats and just slide them all over. And then just add a couple on the end.
That's smart.
Yeah, pack them in with elbow room.
Hey.
Because the first event was the AC Milan-Chelsea soccer match, and then you saw the people who were able to pull the seats off. They hadn't quite figured it out yet, but I don't know. I feel like stadiums like that, and you see like there's so many lounges, like there's a fantasy football lounge. There's a freaking Buffalo Wild Wings in the stadium that's exactly like a Buffalo Wild Wings, except it's at stadium. You can't see the field, but you're at a Buffalo Wild Wings in the stadium.
Can you go to the Buffalo Wild Wings in the stadium, like just any time?
No, it's like a club seating.
Okay.
So you have to pay to go to a Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't get it, but people do it.
Well, was it Miller Field in Milwaukee? There's a, I don't know if it's a TGI Fridays or what, something like that. But even when the Brewers weren't playing, even when baseball wasn't even going on, like you could go in there and you could just go and eat at that restaurant.
That'd be sweet.
It was, and like it was overlooking the field, so you could we all took our pictures overlooking Miller Field, and just sat down, had like an okay meal, and just went on with our day. See, that's pretty cool.
I think that's what teams are going to have to start doing now, because the product is so good on TV, and fans are they're relatively inelastic when it comes to the NFL. It's such a big product, but they don't like being gouged, and they're already paying a couple $100 for tickets.
They're already paying too much.
They're already paying too much for concessions and parking and all that other crap. And so the NFL is going to have to get creative in some of these stadiums, and I think they'll have to go a little bit smaller. But you see what they're offering now is like, the world's best Wi-Fi as far as the stadium goes, right here. So
get those Instagram pictures up.
Yeah,
quick snap.
So you can do exactly what you would be doing at home, checking your fantasy team and watching the other games here, and just looking out your iPad. It's not really for me, but some people are into it.
Yeah. Can I try your beer?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 2015 Rum King.
Yeah, the Rum King
baby.
Aged in barrels of hard liquor. I don't know. It's really good. I don't have the ad copy in front of me. Sorry, indeed.
Oh, that's okay.
Earthy tones, smooth draw. Yeah, we should talk about beer, since you're the beer guy. So, honest review.
Of that?
Yeah.
Oh, that beer is fantastic. It's just silky smooth. You get a little bit of barrel, but not enough to where it starts to get whiny or like really weird.
Yep.
You get that get a little bit of rum quality in there, and
Oh, I guess it would stand to reason that it's rum barrels. I guess that would make sense for the Rum King. It's also 10.5% ABV, so I get why they give it to you in the smaller glasses, not the pint.
Oh yeah. If you had a pint of that, man, they'd be carrying you out. Rum King's gotten me in trouble.
Now, what's the equivalent for beer to like a sommelier for wine, or like a wine expert?
Cicerone.
That's delicious. I got that at Olive Garden last time. Yeah. Hey, give me the Cicerone. All right, now, is there like a qualification for that, or? Is it
yeah. It's a really intense course. The Cicerone program, it has like multiple levels. I haven't done any of them, so, but I mean there's a Cicerone program for just being a beer server.
Oh,
there are people who have certified beer server, like as one of their credentials, and then from there it goes. I think, I don't know anything about the program. I'm not going to pretend like I do, but
Grand Wizard Cicerone.
Yeah, Grand Wizard Cicerone. No, but like Cicerone is like the top. Like you're a Cicerone. If you ever talk to Michael Agnew, great interview. If you ever want to do a beer thing, really approachable guy. But he's Minnesota's very first Cicerone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think beer judge you get along the way, and then obviously like beer servers first.
Yep.
And then I want to say there are a couple other steps along the way too, but it's a pretty intense process and it takes some time.
Is that starting to be the trend? I know that here in the Twin Cities, we're the land of microbrews. There's one that pops up like every other week, it seems. But I feel like they are definitely going more high-end, more refined, and I feel like that's the next logical step. You actually have these experts, these Cicerones, in to help make you appreciate the beer a little bit more, or have food pairings, or et cetera.
Yes and no. A lot of seasoned Cicerones are consulting. So you're seeing that more and more. They're giving classes. There's a great one at Modest Brewing that teaches you everything you need to know about every everything that goes into beer, the steps, the everything. I mean, really good stuff. I mean, they're really going out and educating people. I don't know of too many, although I'm sure there are some, like who actually started breweries and are actually brewing. But I mean, we're definitely at a point where the more knowledge you can get behind your brand, the better off you're going to be. I mean, that's why last year you saw a lot of breweries start to get quality assurance labs. And I'm not sure what.
Oh, so that people don't die on like the 1,000th batch.
It's not that. It's just like the hintest, like presence of an off flavor. I mean, nowadays, you get the wrong person in there who catches that. They hop on Untappd or they hop on Facebook or whatever. That's like, I mean, suddenly you're on the defensive.
I totally tried this beer, and there was no hints of persimmon despite this label. No hints, I tell you. Send.
It would surprise you what that can create. It's, as more and more breweries come, a lot of people like to talk about a brewery bubble that, like, suddenly it's going to pop and we're all going to die. Not quite like that.
We're talking about, like, tech bubble, or are we talking about, like, insulated community bubble?
No, we're talking about a bubble for the market.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're even at a point. People are talking about it prematurely, I think, because all the breweries around here, we've had one close in the last year.
And that's because they're running guns. I made that up. Don't look that up.
I know things. I know things about that situation, but I'm not in a position to speculate or bring it up.
I'll ask Frank about it during the break.
But most of the breweries are growing. You got Bauhaus Brew Labs over in Minneapolis. They're expanding. Insight in Minneapolis expanding. So many of them. 56 Brewing in Minneapolis just moved out of their old space to accommodate growth. And you go into tap rooms at peak hours, they're all packed.
Yeah.
Most breweries on off nights are packed. I mean, Boom Island, one of my favorite spots, on Broadway in Washington. You go in there on a Wednesday night, full. They have a small space, but they fill it on a Wednesday night. And there's no other reason to go to that part of town.
A ringing endorsement for that neighborhood.
Well, there is Pappy's Chicago-style eatery and their double cheeseburger, which is fantastic. But a lot of neighborhoods have like 3-4 breweries, just like bang, 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 bang. Like there's the nearest one to Boom Island is like a mile and a half off, and it's on like a really wonky intersection. But they make fantastic beer. Everything they make, they knock out of the park, and on a Wednesday night they fill it.
Well, this is not a sponsor, but obviously work with Indeed as a sponsor for the show. But it's really cool what they have up at the Logan neighborhood too. It's like you're in this neighborhood, you're driving down the street, and then all of a sudden there's this giant ass brewery that makes great beer, that's got great people, and it's got a cool vibe. That's also what I've noticed about a lot of Twin Cities breweries, that they really care about the aesthetic, about the vibe, almost just as much as the beer, because that's what gets people to come back. And also what's really great is that I think these breweries, a lot of them are friends with each other, because there's no like rivalry, there's no vitriol, because I think they understand that there's room on everyone's palate for different kinds of beer. Like we're not exactly brand loyal. Like I'm a Schmitz man. Back in the day.
Yeah,
if you want to be a Schmitz man.
For craft brewers, I don't really see that. No, I think right now any division I see is people who will only drink like local craft beer, and people who don't want to be in with that crowd and will only drink Coors Light, Miller Lite, what have you.
Just to spite the beer snobs.
I know a few people who say, and I quote, I drink Coors Light to spite the beer nerds.
Which is funny because You can be a beer nerd. That's perfectly fine. But don't judge someone else for drinking beer. I mean, it's just beer. I mean, I feel like everything should be around beer should be happy and inclusive and not exclusive.
During the summertime, my wife and I we always have Honey Weiss in the fridge from Leinenkugels.
Traitor.
That's what we like.
It's mass-produced swill.
I have Grain Belt in my house a lot. Just
Minnesota's
nice,
finest.
easy to drink, just like 4% alcohol.
Yeah.
You can just sit on your patio and just like slug 3 of them, not feel anything.
But Frank, that's American piss. How dare you? You're supposed to be refined.
But you can only be so refined. I mean, if you're drinking something for nothing more than the sake of your own image, you got bigger problems than I do.
Yeah, see, that's my thing too. Like, there are so many great stouts and IPAs and EPAs in the world, but if you're just hanging out with friends on a hot day, maybe you're playing some beer pong or some drinking games, have a Coors Light, have a Miller, have something light that's not going to be extremely heavy. Like, not everything has to be, like a heavy IPA.
Well, yeah, you got to have those, and more and more breweries. In fact, Indeed is one of them. I was kind of hoping it would be on tap tonight, but they have the B-side Pilsner.
Oh yeah.
Which I was eager to try.
It's Frank just getting an order in.
I just failed at ordering a beer. That's what happens. What was her name? Andrea. Poor Andrea was like asking me if I wanted a beer, and I was like, I reacted like she was asking me like a college level algebra problem. But so sorry about that dead air. Hopefully you can edit that out.
No, I always leave everything in because A, I'm lazy, and B, it's kind of funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's that dead air explained. Where were we?
Lots about beer.
All right,
so what I find great about all the microbrews around here is that they're not publicly traded. They don't have a board. They don't have shareholders, so they're not driven by squeezing out every single dime and every single dollar. Like, they want to pay for their operating expenses, put some cash in their pockets as far as the owners, and just make a great product. And I think there's something to be said about that entrepreneurial movement, and you're seeing it down with like artisan foods, artisan restaurants, small places like this Blue Door, and that there is still definite room in the American psyche as that truck almost backs into that Cadillac there's definitely room for that where you can tell that there's love and compassion and just heart put into the product, whether it be beer, whether it be a burger, whether it be an artisan carpet if you're buying that, where you just don't get in corporate America, which, damn, now I'm a liberal. Shit.
Sorry, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah. But we're having a great beer renaissance.
We are.
Yeah.
We are.
What's your favorite mass-produced beer?
My favorite mass-produced beer?
Besides, like, I'm talking about Big.
Big Big?
Yeah.
My favorite mass-produced beer would be... Does Shells count as big?
I'll put them as like a mid-major.
Okay. Can they be an answer to this question, or do you want me to leave them out? So I have to think harder.
Leave them out. Like, give me a Coors or a Budweiser or
okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with Leinenkugels Honey Weiss. Leine's is owned by Miller Coors, so I don't know how their operations run with Miller's money behind them. I know there are some breweries who were bought out by larger corporations who the larger corporation doesn't really bother the brewery. They just back them up with the money. And they just say, keep doing your thing. Just here's some money.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to play it, because one of the things, like these smaller breweries that become popular, it's the brand loyalty. And once the big corporations meddle too much, that's going to take away from the product. That's going to sour a lot of the consumers. But back it up with the money, back it up with the marketing, logistics, distribution, do all that stuff. But then everything else, stay the hell out of the way.
But it'd be
really good, Leinenkugels, a strawberry beer, because we have data that shows that would
Stop it. Stop it. They have tried so many things. They're trying, and I love Leinenkugels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what this takes away from my street cred, but I love Leinenkugels.
Yep.
But they have tried so many things that just don't work. I don't know if they're even. I don't know if they're selling. I don't know.
But is it good that they're trying them?
Is it because they're trying them?
No, is it good that they're trying different things to try and cater to the consumer, or is it just trying too hard?
I think they're trying too hard. I think they're trying too hard.
Leinenkugels Nitro.
Well, that's just it. Like they're doing.
Oh, wait,
like,
that's a real thing.
They did a vanilla porter that was just awful.
Oh, yeah.
They did a Hellas that was just terrible.
Oh,
they did
the Canoe Paddler. That was really good though.
I don't remember Canoe Paddler.
All right, I gotta look this up.
But they've tried all kinds of like cream beers, all kinds of like berry beers that just were terrible. I mean, their past Summer Shandy kind of used to be one of my wife's and my summer jams, and like Summer Shandy has even been kind of tart the last couple times.
What's your stance on like Berry Weiss?
Berry Weiss? There's a time and a place for it.
Yep.
The time is if you're drunk enough for it. And the place is you can take a honey Weiss and a berry Weiss, mix them half and half, and get a honey berry.
Yeah.
That is sneaky good. To the point where Leinenkugels occasionally will put that out.
Oh.
They'll sell that.
See? There you go. All right, so this is the Canoe Paddler.
Okay.
It's really good. It's a Kolsch, I guess.
Okay.
It's like a spring summer beer.
I've not had it.
It's really good.
But I've only tried like they had an IPL for a while. They did that porter. They did a bunch of other things, and like none of those worked. And I just wanted to be like, yo, just stick to your regular Leinenkugels and your honey Weiss and like one seasonal. Like, don't overthink this.
Do you think it's better when breweries do that, or they like flood the market with a bunch of seasonals or limited releases or rare beers?
I mean, the market dictates that.
Yeah.
If they're good, if they're well done, people will buy them, and if people buy them, it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
If they all stink, they should maybe just back it up and stick to what they do best and work on that program some more.
You know what's funny is that once you get out of college and you start making some money, and then your beer taste definitely upgrade a little bit. Because, but I remember in college, like, oh man, they raised the price of 30 racks of Cool Light. It went from $8.99 to $9.49.
Man,
those sons of bitches.
Now you can't afford it anymore.
Those greedy corporate bastards in lacrosse. But now it's definitely like, oh, we're paying $10, $11 for a 4-pack of Tall Boys, but that's okay because this is great local beer. Fantastic.
Yeah,
also, speaking of great, we got some good Blue Door here. Now, I got the Lumberjack Blue Seal, which is their Blue Seal of the moment. It's got bacon, it's got smoked Gouda, it's got maple syrup, it's got an egg on it because I got the egg on it. And Frank, you got the
I got the Mount Vesuvius.
Mount Vesuvius. All right, we're gonna munch on that, and we'll be right back here from Blue Door Pub with more Bull. Coming back into the Blue Door Pub Studios, we just finished up some greatness. Frank's mouth is trying to unheat.
Trying to unheat.
Yeah, from the Mount Vesuvius.
Mount Vesuvius blew up.
I myself had the Lumberjack, and I gotta say, if you order it, it's their Blue Seal of the moment right now with the 3 Blue Door Pub locations. You got to get with the egg, with the over easy egg, and let that yolk just.
Whenever the egg is an option, you got to get the egg.
Yeah.
Got to get the egg.
Do that up. TheBDP.com or visit all 3 of their locations. Como, University on Como, Longfellow, and, of course, the original on St. Paul. Blue Door Pub, baby. All right, so back here with Frank of the Minnesota Skinny, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the show. This is usually how my interviews go. Like, We bring the guest on to promote one of their products, and then we spend the first 40 minutes talking about football.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So what's new and different with the MN Skinny? Also, it'd be very ironic if you got fat.
I was, dude. I lost 10 pounds this year already.
Oh. I mean, that's awesome. Except it's not like The Biggest Loser awesome. Like if they lost if they lost 10 pounds in the first week, like the ratings would suffer.
Oh, I'm sure they would, but the thing is, I mean, when you get the people on like The Biggest Loser, I didn't have that much weight to lose.
So
these are people trying to lose like 300 pounds. I'm trying to lose like 20, and I'm halfway there.
Oh, so being a Dolphins fan, do you remember the Scott Mitchell half year?
I do.
Came in from Marino, got the big contract with the Lions. He was on a season of The Biggest Loser. He got so fat.
Was he?
Yeah. He got it with like four spins.
Jeez.
I don't think he won, though.
Oh, my.
If only there was some magical box in front of me where I could look up all the...
I know. If only there was an internet out there.
But, yeah, that's awesome.
But, yeah, show's going great. Website's going great. Since you were last on my show, I left Sizzlin'. So now I do it all independently, which I found to be so much less stressful.
Independent is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. My listenership is right back where it was. Website's going great. Able to do so much more stuff. And there's a lot of exciting things going on. We talked about the breweries. There's a lot of cool stuff in food, too. A lot of cool restaurants opening up. A lot of cool restaurants that are out there that people might have forgotten about.
Ooh, like where?
Well, the Cherokee Tavern's one. Great steaks, nice atmosphere. If you go during a pro game, hams are $1.
What?
Pints of hams are $1 during pro games.
Blue Door, I love you, baby, except I have to go get some Cherokee now.
On the Thursday of the week of your birthday, if you find a friend who can spend like $20 on an entree, you get a free steak.
That's pretty sweet. Going back to the dollar hams thing, one of the producers from one of my other shows, it comes to Blue Door and only drinks hams. For some, he never drinks hams at any other time, but he always comes here and orders hams. We're gonna have to put him on that. I think he'll have to hop on that.
Might have to.
Yeah.
Man, it's just a cool place to hang out. And that's kind of where I've turned my focus to is like places maybe around the metro area or maybe even a little bit outstate, a little bit that people might not have heard about or people might have forgotten about.
The greater Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're very spoiled, especially here in the Twin Cities and the metro suburban areas, that there's a bunch of great restaurants. And not like new kitschy, new wave stuff, but just old-fashioned, like, great restaurants that have done it right years and years and years. There's a reason why they're still in business. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something I think these new waves of restaurants are going to find is difficult to replicate because just the fickle nature and the short attention spans of these new generations.
Yeah.
We're seeing
find
restaurants
us on Snapchat.
We're seeing restaurants that, like restaurants and bar restaurants that are open, closed, 3 months. I mean, we're talking 6 months, 3 months, less than a year.
Which is pretty insane because if you're opening a restaurant, especially if you opened a couple of them, you have to expect to eat shit for at least a year or two, right?
One would surmise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happens is they have their brunch program and they have their dinner program and they have all the media come through, and everybody says this and that about them, and then they get the everybody coming in and Instagramming their brunch. But once everybody's done that, they don't come back because a spot just opened, and now they have to go there and Instagram their brunch, and they have to go there and write that so and so dish was amazing.
Man,
so it's like one big traveling pack, and then these restaurants get forgotten.
It's like we're a pack of locusts.
Actually, the way that makes a lot of sense the way you put it. And the small neighborhood spots that have been around since, in Cherokee Tavern's case, I want to say they've been around since like the 1930s.
Yep.
They have the following.
And really good example. So the wife and I, we live in the southern suburbs, and there's this place in Eagan called Jensen's. It's like a old school
I've heard of Jensen's.
supper club. They opened it in like the 1940s, and it's basically the same today as it was back then. Like Friday, they have a prime rib. Saturday, they have shrimp, and you can get a great Manhattan, a great martini. That's like a formula that's always going to work.
Yeah.
You know? And they don't chase trends. It's nothing kitschy. They're not on Instagram, I don't think. Actually, they might be now. But there's just something about good food, good service, good atmosphere. And if you check all three of those boxes, you're going to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. And the people behind it have to care that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Those small places, like you said, Jensen's, there really isn't a long-standing place in Plymouth where I live, but to use like the Cherokee Tavern or even like Palmer's Tavern up in Hibbing as an example. I mean, they're on their second, third generation, so they have that name to live up to.
Yep. Well, I mean, like local great steakhouses like Murray's or Manny's, like their approach doesn't change. Like they're very blunt, bludgeon the beef to turn a phrase. Like their method is always going to work. You know what I mean? Whereas like the newer age restaurants, like the wasabi fusion, it's like I like.
It's got a shelf life.
I like Chino Latino, except I can also see them being out of business in like 15 years, or them having to adapt, as like the current approach probably won't work.
I could see them having to adapt.
Yeah.
But they're part of a restaurant group, and from what I've seen anyway, this
I didn't mean to throw shade at Chino Latino. That was purely an example. If you're listening, Chino Latino.
Do you want me to throw legit shade at Chino Latino?
Sure.
I only went in there once. And it was just like this loud. It was like this, like, I walked in and it was like a red room, and it was just like, and it's an uptown, so you get all these freaking, like, frat bros and all these, like, you know, daddy's money kids, just like sitting there being loud and obnoxious. You just walk in and it's like, and the wait staff's not paying attention to you because they got someone dropping like $100 maybe down at the end of the bar on like a bunch of crappy shots. I was in there for like 30 seconds. Didn't even stick around for a drink, nothing. I walked in and I'm like, this is whack. I'm out of here.
Ooh, all right, so we'll take that out of market so I don't insult anyone here that could actually become sponsors of the show. In Vegas, like been to Vegas a bunch. There's a bunch of really great steakhouses out there. I love Strip House LV. It's kind of underrated. It's in Planet Hollywood. Doesn't get a huge ton of traffic, but you get a great steak, you get a great cocktail, you get a good server. That's really all you need at a steakhouse. Where there's also a place called STK, steak, and it is a nightclub. Like they're playing like hardcore, like EDM music while you're trying to eat. It's loud. The servers aren't great. The cocktails are kind of watered down, and the steak is average. But that place is always packed with the conventioneers or the businessmen coming from out of town. It's like, oh, this is new. This is trendy. Where it's like, okay, but they'll probably be closed in a couple of years, where Strip House LV will be open.
They'll be open until the sun explodes.
Yeah. Or you get like a great brand like Ruth's Chris or Lowry's, and it's like, sometimes people tune out of them. It's like, oh, they're just mainstays, but they'll be here after Armageddon.
Oh yeah, I mean Ruth's Chris is nationwide for a reason.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, checking out all these places outstate, it's so much fun.
What's your favorite place that you've been to, and where was it?
Are you talking just
out of the cities?
How recent?
3 years.
3 years? Oh, you're giving me a lot to work with. I'll throw a couple at you. South of Superior, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Is Gronk's. Now Do you sound like you heard of him?
No, it was like, it's Gronk. Gronk Spike.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Gronk spikes any other burger in the world.
Oh. Well, there you go.
That is the best burger in the world.
Really?
South of Superior.
Damn it! Now I gotta look it up.
I've been going to Gronk's. I went to school at UW Superior. And so I would go to Gronk's. I would have, when I was editor-in-chief of the newspaper at that college, I would bring everybody for meetings at Gronk's.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, we would have $8 Honey Vice pitchers.
Oh, damn.
And we would have the best burgers in the world at Gronk's.
Home of the Twin Ports' biggest burger challenge.
Yep. The Great Divide. I haven't even stepped to that. Then there's the Anchor Bar in Superior, also in Superior. Second best burger in the world.
Oh, see, I thought you were talking about Anchor Bar, which is across from Red Wing.
Oh, no, this is Anchor Bar.
Which is pretty amazing, too.
In Superior.
Okay, I got you.
$2, like $2.50 Miller Lite pitchers on like Monday nights. They have a 1 pound burger called the Galley Buster that costs like $7. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the staff hates you in a good way. But then it was up in Knife River. I found this place just randomly called Kendall's Smokehouse. Had a half pound of fish. Just like they give it to you in paper with a fork. And you sit in a vacant bar.
Yeah.
They just point you over there like, oh, yeah, you can just have a seat over there. And then someone just walks up behind the bar like, hey, do you want like a beer? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take one of those guys. And they just pop it for you, give you the bottle and walk away. And then you're just by yourself in this like vacant bar room having some of the best fish you've ever had in your life.
Wow.
Found it on accident.
I love like old school, like non-pretentious, just like straightforward places like that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like classics and things that'll never go out of style, like Friday night fish fries. Like,
oh, those will never go out of style.
No, absolutely not. Like fried cod and French fries and coleslaw. It's like, yeah. Also growing up Lutheran, so that was always the go-to on like Friday nights. Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird how like some of those things and traditions just like stick with you.
I feel like Friday fish fries are like proof that Jesus loves us.
Yeah.
You know, he gave us Lent, which gave us fish fries.
Yeah.
God, 3 years. All right.
Where's your favorite place you've been to outside the Midwest? How about that?
Outside the Midwest?
Yeah. Please don't say SDK.
No, I'm not going to say SDK. It's, outside the Midwest. Okay, I was at a place, I was at a spot. We were in Denver a few weeks back. Went to this place called Atomic Cowboy.
Oh.
And $3, all you can drink coffee. And it's self-serve.
Huh.
So we got there at noon. I got a cup probably the size of like this pint glass almost. And I slugged like 3 of those because, you know, I'm me. And so, you know, by the time the food comes, I'm like shooting lightning out of my fingertips like Raiden, just like, and they make these biscuit sandwiches, these biscuit fried chicken sandwiches. I'm going to find a picture for you to give, but I mean, these were fucking ridiculous.
Is it like Chick-fil-A but better?
Chick-fil-A, nah, you can't even put Chick-fil-A in a conversation with that.
Holy crap. All right, so we're looking at a nicely fried piece of chicken on top of a buttermilk biscuit, and then like all the fixings.
Yeah,
really good.
I mean that's probably. I mean that wasn't mine. I had a different one, but still, I mean it was top 5 pieces of fried chicken I've ever had.
Yeah.
Top 5 biscuits I've ever had.
Wow, that's a good combination.
And then so then you know if you got $4 extra, you get a slice of pizza, something like that.
That's a break. All right, so we're looking at like a New York style size piece. It's got Canadian bacon. It's got some.
That little shadow underneath it, that's the plate. Yeah, it's just it's just Canadian bacon and spinach.
Yeah.
I just wanted something simple. Again, fucking ridiculous. I mean, but that sandwich is, I mean, I still struggle to find words to describe that.
Is that one of your top 5 sandwiches?
That's a heavy distinction, but with a gun to my head right now, I would say yes. Probably number 5, but yes.
What's the best sandwich you ever had?
Best sandwich I ever had, okay. There's a place in Gary, New Duluth called Hugo's that gives you a club sub that is this big. It's like
he's bigger than the size of a basketball.
Bigger than a football.
Yep.
Bigger than a football. Roast beef, turkey, ham, cheese, onions, bacon, tomatoes, mayo if you want it. One other type of meat too. Did I say ground beef? Ground beef is on there too.
Yeah.
I mean, just like humongous. And then World Street Kitchen does something called an MFC. Mm-hmm. It's technically called Moroccan fried chicken, but I call it motherfucking chicken. That also makes a really good biscuit bun with fried chicken on it, and they got feta cheese and like a carrot, like a shredded carrot topping. Just incredible. And World Street Kitchen's one that, I mean, if you ever drive by there and you haven't had it, gotta have it.
Now, it's funny you mentioned Denver earlier because we were out there early in the year for a friend's wedding, and then we did went through Boulder, went through Golden, went through Estes Park, and that whole thing, made the whole trip. The best sandwich I've ever had was out there.
Where?
Golden, Colorado, a place called D Deli. Now, it's like a small hole-in-the-wall, like, college-ass place. Like very,
okay.
It's near the Colorado School of Mines, so it's, like, very college-y. But they have corn smoked buffalo.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now. And I remember I had the Reuben, and it had the buffalo, the corn beef buffalo, or corn buffalo, whatever. Swiss cheese, Thousand Island sauerkraut, so traditional Reuben. Great bread. The meat was amazing. And it may have been the altitude sickness. It may have been that, but that sandwich was transcendent.
Oh, you can't blame altitude for that.
It might be.
Sounds good.
Or it might have been high, but it's one of the two things.
It might have been high.
Yeah.
Well, again, Yeah.
Now, I'm not a big smoker, but of course out there I had to try a little bit. So we have friends out there, and they're big into the edibles thing. And I feel like the edibles are the most dangerous thing. Like, if recreational marijuana gets legalized here in Minnesota, which I think it eventually will.
I think it will, too. I think Minnesota will be one of the next 5 states.
Yeah. Watch, we'll get legal weed, but we'll still won't have Sunday sales. That's where we draw the line.
I could absolutely see that.
Yeah.
Although I feel like Sunday sales has a good shot this year.
It's such a dumb argument against it, but I digress. But if and when that does happen, the legalization of marijuana in Minnesota, edibles, I feel like, have to be the most strictly regulated thing, because the worst part about it is it doesn't hit you for an hour. So you're just sitting around. You're like, man, this ain't even working. I better try some more. And I could see, but I didn't. But because once it hits you like a ton of bricks. But I could easily see college kids, be like, oh, this is where you work, so I'm going to eat 3 of them. And then hospital.
I think that would happen regardless. I bet it happens in Colorado a lot. You probably have a lot of people going out there. Like, all right, I'm going to go out to Colorado and I'm going to try some weed. And then, like...
I bet you amongst tourists, THC, I guess you can call it overdose, it would be, like, the top ER visit reason. Had to be. Or has to be. Besides maybe ski accident.
I'll say the alcohol game is strong out there.
Yeah.
A lot of craft beers to try.
There are... Oh, gosh. We toured a brewery out there. I can't remember which one it was. It wasn't Coors, but it was one of the...
I was going to say, was it in Golden, Colorado? Was it really big?
No, it was in Boulder. It was like this really cool, great small craft place.
Odell?
No. Maybe I'll have to look it up. But so the Sunday sales thing, I'm still flabbergasted of how it hasn't been passed. Like
me too.
The past decade, at least.
With so many... With how progressive Minnesota is in general. It does. It's really surprising, but at the same time, one of the most powerful forces in legislature in Minnesota is the Teamsters. Mm-hmm. And the Teamsters are responsible for a lot of the largest distributors in Minnesota. And I think that's where the roadblock comes in.
Teamsters are talking truck drivers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's limited to just truck drivers. But, I mean, I read an interview once where I watched a hearing, and a representative from the Teamsters basically just walked up to the stand and said, we don't want to work Sundays. Mm-hmm. That killed it. And in a news article a couple days later, that guy was like, well, we told so-and-so we didn't want to work Sundays, and we told them to vote no. And they did. Like, that's just how it went.
It's so crazy because when you say the Teamsters, you get the thoughts of Jimmy Hoffa. It's like, oh, they never found his body. And, like, unions are extremely powerful.
Oh, yeah.
And you mentioned that. It's like Teamsters probably have a lot of money tied up in probably a lot of money in the pocket, some of these these lawmakers. And it's just deliver a little bit more on Saturday. It's not like they're going to run out on Sunday.
Well, or just find a job that doesn't make you work Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't believe that wouldn't benefit distributors somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the inner workings of the beer industry works from a financial standpoint, but it would sell more beer, which would ostensibly bring more money to distributors. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how that doesn't make more money for them. I mean, one good argument against the ban I think it was a different hearing, was like, good luck telling Target or Walmart or so-and-so that they can't be open on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. It is kind of preposterous, very preposterous, that we don't have Sunday sales yet.
I'm guessing, I always thought it would be something like political like that. Like I wasn't believing the whole prudish, don't drink on the Lord's Day, as was the original intent of no Sunday sales. But it's really disheartening, especially if you live close to another state, whether it be Iowa, Wisconsin, or the Dakotas. And yes, you probably will load up more on Saturday, but if you don't, you're just going to go across the state border, and you're going to spend your money, and they're going to get the tax revenue over there, and you're just going to bring it back into the state. So what's really the point? Yep.
And every big city in Minnesota, with the exception of St. Cloud and Bemidji. Rochester's right on a state line. Twin Cities is close enough.
Yeah. Like, how many cars do you see just going over 94 over to Hudson to pick up a couple of cases on Sunday? Probably quite a few.
I'm not really sure. I don't live on that end of town anymore, but I know we did the head of the Minnesota Beer Activists a couple of years ago did a rally at the state capitol that had a huge amount of people turn out, and we all put flags on our cars saying we're going to Wisconsin to spend our money because we can't buy alcohol on Sundays.
That's awesome.
And there were a bunch of cars going across. I'm a maniac, so I passed a bunch of them going like, I may have been speeding.
Okay, Adrian Peterson.
But there were a bunch of people going over there.
Remember when speeding was the only thing we could knock Adrian Peterson for?
Speeding? I never heard about this.
Oh, no, he had a lot of like big speeding tickets like before stuff happened.
I never heard about that.
He's a prodigious speeder. Anyways.
That I knew about, but I didn't know about the speeding tickets.
Yeah. Real world example. So I went to college in Winona. Well, you probably relate to growing up in Duluth, is that whenever it was closed on Sunday, or if we ran out of beer or if we're having a party on Sunday, we would just go across the river, load up in Wisconsin, and then come back.
Yeah.
And just dropping all that money over at a rival state.
Yeah. And when you're that close, you don't even worry about, like, oh, it's Saturday night, I better load up. You're just like, fuck it. I'm just going to go over to Superior tomorrow, or I'm just going to go over from Winona. Or in my case, there's a great brewery in Hudson. Mm-hmm. They would be one of the best ones in Minnesota if they were over here.
Yep.
So I'll just be like, screw it. I'm just going to go over to Hudson, stop at Pitchfork, have a couple beers, grab some beers, and head back. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a thing. Yep. I could be over there in 40 minutes.
Now, so the marijuana thing, you don't have to say if you partake or not, but what's your 2 cents on that?
My 2 cents on the marijuana thing?
Yeah.
It's been positive for Colorado. Mm-hmm. It's been positive for Washington.
Yep.
They've both seen. I don't know what the percentage gain is economically for those states. But Andy's going to look it up. But I know it's been substantial, and it doesn't seem like they've had. It doesn't seem like they've had a bunch of like crazy weed crimes going on. Mm. So I'd say fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah. So see here, it seems like $1 billion is the number for legal marijuana sales. Now that might be gross, that might be net. I don't really know. Oh, collect more $150 million in taxes from legal marijuana sales, including your $50 million. And I like the way that Colorado and Washington does it. Is that if you're a dispensary, you have to you have to own the process from snout to tail, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be your own grower, you have to be your own distributor, you have to be that. So you can't buy it from like third party. So I like that, but also you have to worry about that whole process and regulation making the product more expensive than street weed still, because they've seen this issue in Washington and Colorado is that through all the regulation and all the hoops you got to jump through, you'll still get cheaper weed on the street. Like it won't be as good a weed, and you're still buying it illegally, but people are still price sensitive. Like, oh, this is an extra $5 for an ounce. I'm gonna go buy from the shady guy in the El Camino down the street.
But how many people are really doing that? You know, like if, like how what price tag can you put on legality?
Yep.
I mean,
enough to keep the drug dealers in business.
Well, and that makes sense, but I would bet that a majority of people out there, like, okay, do I have to spend $5 extra to be legal? I would hope a lot of them are saying yes.
5 may be just a random number. What if it's 20, though?
20?
What if it's 50? What if it's really good stuff?
I would, if it was me, I don't partake in it.
Yep.
But, I mean, I would go with, if I was in that position and I could afford to smoke weed in the first place, I would do it legal.
Yep.
I would just buy a lesser size or something.
Yeah, plus you can get the vape stuff, you get the edibles, you can get lots of stuff. They got cookies.
Yeah.
They got freaking cookies.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
They probably got all kinds of stuff.
Now, see, if and when it gets legalized in Minnesota, which I believe it will. I'm always a big...
I think it will, too.
Not to get philosophical or political, but I always lean more towards the way it's going to be, like the way the wind is blowing. Like I think they should legalize gay marriage 20 years before they did, but that's neither here nor there. So this is going to happen, like just like Sunday sale is going to happen. And how can we profit from it collectively? Like how can the state gain revenue as opposed to the bad guys gaining revenue, a.k.a. Wisconsin or drug dealers? And how can we put that revenue to good use? Let's put it all into the schools. Let's bolster up that.
Yeah.
And how can people really say no? Like clutching their pools saying, I don't want people smoking weed. Guess what, Grandma? They're still smoking weed.
Exactly.
They're just buying it from bad hombres.
Bad hombres.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure it's going to pass pretty soon. And like I said, I think Minnesota will be one of the next 5 states to do it. And that's usually where Minnesota is on, well, pretty much anything except Sunday sales.
Yep.
Pretty much any, like, progressive policy, Minnesota's usually either at the forefront or in, like, the second wave of people to come through or of states to go through.
That's still unbelievable. It's like, if you legalize marijuana, that means more people are going to smoke it. No, it doesn't really change the number of people partaking.
Yeah. I think I don't think we're going to see – I don't think we would see a bunch of pot addicts overnight for that. I think now, I mean, even nowadays, you could get pot without really having to worry about getting busted.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, I have a couple buddies. I could just go to their house if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And just like roll one up if I wanted to. And
although if and when you legalize it, then that one loser friend of yours who sells weed, something becomes a lot less popular. his phone's not ringing as much on the weekends, but it's okay. He'll figure it out.
But yeah, like everybody knows somebody who's got some. I don't think like if it was legal, everybody has other things holding them back from trying it. Like myself, my company randomly drug tests.
Yep.
So I'm not going to go out and smoke it.
Me, on the other hand, who's relatively self-employed, I will partake, and then I'll have the most amazing sandwich ever.
I bet.
No, I'll see
that D-deli. You won't even
see. That would be a control. It's like, was the sandwich really the best ever, or was it because I was stoned? I don't know. Let's find out. All right, Frank, we've taken up a bunch of your time, but what do you got to plug? What's coming up from Minnesota Skinny?
Minnesota Skinny. When's this coming out? Tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Got a new podcast coming out tomorrow. Got Chip Walton from Chop and Brew and Joji and Bruno from Bad Weather Brewing.
Badweather's a great place, by the way.
Badweather's an
Fantastic.
awesome place. Great folks. Got interviews coming up with. Andy and I are going to trade. I'm going to interview Andy after this, so keep an eye out for that for the next couple weeks. Got a couple more places up north. Going to write up. Couple cool adventures.
Nice.
That happened. I'm going to write about. You just got to stay tuned. Right now, my next wave of Mouthful karaoke videos are coming out.
Nice.
So you got to check those out. Check the Minnesota Skinny Facebook page at MN Skinny. That's at MN as in Minnesota. Skinny as in a meth addict. Super easy to find. Just big blue state of Minnesota speech bubble inside. Can't miss it. That's where you find me.
Hey, awesome. And the website is minnesotaskinny.com.
That's right. Minnesota Skinny all spelled out.
Hey, appreciate you, Frank. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Have to make this a regular thing.
We will have to make this a regular thing. This is great.
Bam Bam Bigelow. If you enjoy the show, tell a friend, spread the word, add to the Jerome Army. Thanks, producer Allie, for making me not sound so stupid.
Thanks, Allie.
Yeah. And, for Frank, I'm Andy. I'm saying Annyeong, sayonara, and bye-bye. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to Bowl with Andy Carlson, Minnesota's 87th best daily podcast. Download the show on iTunes.